that he lost, I don't think a lot of people would have been voting for Mike Pence like that if Trump didn't decided not to run for whatever reason that year.
Here's a simple question. If Democrats after Biden dropped out said our candidate now is like Gavin Newsom or something, do you not think that would be less democratic than giving it to Kamala, who was like elected as vice president, at least in some capacity? Like, the thing is, they had only two options. They can put in someone random who has literally never won a national election, or Kamala, who won a national election as vice president and is in close proximity to the White House, right? So, like, maybe it's not perfectly democratic, but like on the spectrum of democracy, it's definitely the most democratic thing they could have done if Biden was stepping off the ballot.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. I'd say that it's slightly more democratic than picking like Gavin Newsom or Shapiro or something just to fill in that spot. But yeah, I mean, I just wish that, because whether or not everyone would have voted for her anyway. I think that there should have been voting done on it, because I mean, technically you're not verified the candidate until your party's national convention. So yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see people voting for her, and I think what makes it like what brings that to be a problem, like more to the light for me this year, is because of Robert Kennedy, who was polling so well, and he was a Democrat. So yeah, I think that yeah, I mean, it's not as bad than if they would have just picked someone else, but it's definitely not the situation that I would have liked to have seen.
I'll agree with you there. I think Biden should have dropped out and they should have had a proper primary with all new candidates, right? So, I mean, the ideal situation would have been that, but kind of have what we're getting now. And I think, again, I'll go back to the threat to democracy thing. I just don't think that if you truly value, our system of voting, that you can vote for Trump. Like, if you are, then there's some kind of cognitive dissonance there.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is they were running with a candidate in Biden who performed so poorly after one debate that he had to pull out.
Right.
So I think, yeah, I don't know. I think like that from the beginning. So like it's like a further problem than just Biden couldn't run this year, so Kamala had to take the place, because that's somewhat understandable. Like, I get it. But especially considering that Biden was such a poor candidate, it's just all the more reason that there should have been debates and stuff among Democratic politicians, because I'm sure they knew, that there was a chance that Biden wasn't going to do very well this year, because they were so quick to pull the trigger on it after the debate. Especially, like I already mentioned, considering Kennedy was a Democrat and Kamala Harris was polling in at like record low numbers for vice presidential approval rating.
Right. But I mean, since then, she's net favorable now. So, like, if anything, the more she's kind of been put out there, the more people are responding pleasantly to her.
I personally, and you can disagree with me, and I understand, but personally, I think that that approval rating's gone up just because she's become the candidate.
I agree. I think it was low because people just, whatever they thought of Biden, they just thought that of Kamala too, because she was kind of in the background.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she supported Biden and, defended his cognitive decline and hit it. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think it's reasonable to dislike her because of association.
I mean, yeah, it's reasonable to dislike her, but I mean, again, I don't want to go in circles here again on economic policy and the threat to democracy, but the way I would frame it is that, like, is Kamala the ideal situation, the way this all happened? Obviously not. But in any election, you're going to have suboptimal things happening where we wish, I wish this would have went differently. I wish this would have happened. The bottom line is, which of these people is going to be a better president for the country? And I think when it comes to preserving our democracy and our rule of law and not politicizing the entire, civil servant apparatus like Trump wants to do with Schedule F, which is a whole other rabbit hole I could go down, but I'm not going to do that right now. I think that the choice is
Can
pretty
you
clear.
just tell me what that is real quick? I've not heard of it.
Yeah, so Schedule F is an executive order that Trump did, I believe, it was either October or November of 2020, so like right before the election. And basically what it does is like if you work for the federal government right now, like for the Department of Energy, Department of Education or whatever, you have certain civil service protections, which is that like you can't be fired for political reasons, right? So what Trump did is he reclassified a lot of these employees as being in Schedule F, which can be directly appointed by the president and gives the president like a lot more discretion. They claim they're doing this for efficiency reasons. There's other ways to do efficiency that don't involve this. What a lot of Trump's allies have said, people on Project 2025 have said, people on Trump's campaign have said, including JD Vance, is that what this actually allows them to do is like a sort of ideological purity testing, which is if you're going to get in the way of what Trump wants to do in any way, then bye-bye, we're going to replace you with someone else. And Project 2025 literally has unlisted videos on YouTube training people for like, okay, when you get hired as part of Schedule F, this is what you need to do so you can hit the ground running as soon as Trump wins, right? So like this is a very well-orchestrated plan that is designed to undermine the functioning of our government. And I think it's like a shame that people don't talk about it more because Schedule F is something that sounds boring and most people don't know about it, but it's super significant.
Yeah, I'll look into that. I don't think I've heard that brought up to me before, but yeah, thank you for bringing that up to me for sure.
Yeah, all right, appreciate the time, man. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Yep.
Chat, I don't know how long I'm going to be on here tonight. I am super sleepy. Let's bring up the next person right now, chat. Let's discuss something, bro. Stop spamming. You can say whatever, bro, but stop spamming. Because I'll make it a verbal warning. I'm trying to pull up the next guy right now, chat. He's not loading in, so I'm going to try pulling up someone else right now. Try this person. What happened to what, chat? Bro, this person's not loading in either. What is going on?
Hello? Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah,
How we doing?
doing good.
Good. So I just want to start off. I have met Eric Trump. I've met JD Vance. I currently work for a United States congressman in Ohio. So I'm very interested in listening to what the comments have had to say and also what Adam had to say. I'll just give you a little quick background about myself. I'm black, I'm young, in my 20s. I grew up statistically marginalized, single parent. Everything that you would name it, the left discusses. And I became a Republican, I guess, in middle school because I grew up in the economically disadvantaged class. And I was a part of that system that benefited from governmental assistance. So I had to understand the mechanics of what our family life was like. And I found that the Republican Party gave me hope. So ultimately that's led to me. I've worked in, dozens of campaigns. I've worked in office and, my plan is to run in due time. Like I said, I represent a United States congressman. So listening to Adam talk, it was very peculiar because just to boil it down, we really have to ask ourselves, what is the greatest good for the greatest of our nation? I'm not going to judge Trump by his character, nor am I going to judge Biden by his character, because I'm judging off his statistics. The facts are this. When Trump is in office, we had peace in the Middle East. We had the lowest record number for inflation. We had the lowest record for unemployment. We had a more secure border. I don't know if you know this, but in Ohio, we have a lot of fentanyl coming in from China that goes into Mexico, and the fentanyl rates are throughout the roof. We had the lowest rating of trafficking fentanyl. We had the lowest rates of sex trafficking. Sex trafficking went down. We recovered more children under. I don't know how to turn it on. People think I'm not black. I'm trying to turn the camera on, but
I don't know if it's the same on guest. You should I think it's you tap on you in the corner maybe, or in the bottom right. There's a more option. I don't know if you see that though.
Let's see. Oh, I can only do audio, but no, I am black. But so I don't know if you know this, but we've had the most people that were of sex trafficked free. The problem with judging Biden is, let's look at the statistics. As soon as Biden got in office,
a question real quick.
Please, go ahead.
You mentioned you were a Republican. Are you what party do you align with right now?
Well, I'm a Republican now. I vote Republican, but at the same time, I'm not. I vote for whoever's right. The thing about it is, if Trump were to be president, and Ukraine and war in Ukraine happened, war in Palestine happened, we had the worst border ever, we had the worst inflation ever, we had the worst job crisis ever, we had the worst stock crisis ever the first 2 years. Bitcoin dropped to $20,000. Obviously it raised. I would say get this guy out of office. I would say get Trump out of office because people are not winning. And I judge off of production. The truth is, when Biden won, the first thing he did is we got rid of our pipeline. He got rid of our pipeline. Over 60,000 people lost their jobs. And the truth is, we're going to Iran for oil. We're going to India for oil. We're going to all of these other countries. We're going to Russia for oil, which then creates a tax hold for us in America, and then which we're tripling our price here. The problem is, look, I'm just going to boil it down simply. The problem is, we're judging people off of character rather than production. Biden's been in office for not even 4 years, and Ukraine's already been in war with Russia for 2 years. Palestine and Israel's in war. We have the UK is crumbling because there are migrants. There's a migrant crisis worldwide because there's no border. We have mass inflation. We have mass migrant crisis. I mean, we're seeing a crisis unfold. China's going to take Taiwan. So it's about production when it comes to statistics. The thing is, all you have to do if you're a Democrat is talk about abortion, talk about free education. You have to talk about identity politics, which is based by psychological voting points. For example, if you get a room with 300 Democrat young kids ages 18 to 25, all you have to say is you support pro-abortion, you're anti-gun, and you care about free education, and about 75% of those people will support that Democrat. There's no policy. There's nothing involved. And I guarantee if you vote for Kamala right now, we have a likely chance of going to war and our troops will die because nobody fears the United States. When Trump was president, he pulled Iran aside and said, look, if you even try to do anything, if you try to support Hamas, you will fail. We bankrupt Iran. They had no money for years.
I know, because we wouldn't let China and Russia buy oil from them.
We wouldn't. So, I mean, like I said, I'll give more time. I want to talk for a couple more minutes, but my biggest thing is people need to wake up. And I'm not talking like, I'm this QAnon Republican. People don't understand. Dude, like I said, I grew up fucking poor. I grew up black. I grew up homeless. I grew up in that marginalized community where, I'll tell you, if we're completely honest, black people in my community were raped by the Democratic Party. They were being fed government money and rental assistance, utility assistance, all this monetary sponsored governmental financial assistance, which then leads to votes. We're seeing Democrats buying the votes ultimately. And the thing is, like I said, I'm going to judge off production. I was there January 6th. I was there January 6th. I was at every rally. I've met J.D. Vance. I've met Eric Trump. And the problem with all of this is people don't understand that voting for Kamala Harris, everybody wants to talk about democracy. We're not in democracy. There is no democracy in America. When we're sending hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine and Israel, when we're trillions of dollars in debt, there is no democracy. There is no democracy when you have America to the point where we're on the brink of civil war. And I mean it. Look at UK. UK, there was a migrant guy who went into the UK. He was born in Wales, but guess what? He's a migrant. He killed multiple girls in a Taylor Swift stabbing. And guess what? UK's been in shambles, and there's a war. There's a race war happening in UK. The very fabric of Europe is being destroyed because of quote-unquote democracy. Because the European version of democracy means open borders and migrants coming in. There are Democratic-run states that are allowing Democrats to sponsor illegal immigrants to get driver's license, government assistance. They want them to have IDs. They want them to be able to vote. And I'm telling you right now, the thing is, people can call me crazy, but if Kamala wins, he will be drafted. We will have the worst economy of all time. China will take Taiwan. the BRICS alliance. I'm like, listen to this. I want you to educate yourself. Don't ever take what I'm saying for facts. I'm really just a guy who likes politics. You do your own education, but the BRICS alliance is ultimately everybody who is not our allies. They're going to pull from the United States dollar. Everybody who says I'm a clown, everybody who says this guy's full of shit. Guess what? You said I was full of shit, but guess what happened? Ukraine is in war. Palestine's in war. China's about to be taken over by Taiwan. And we're the worst this country's ever seen in all time. So if you support Kamala, guess what? I just really want you to say, I support Kamala when we're in war and our troops are dying. And if she gets sworn in January 20th, I'm telling you, you're going to have to ask yourself morally, did I cause this? Because every person who voted for Kamala, let's just say the election was fair. Let's just say that it was fair. Every person who voted for Kamala and Joe Biden led to the war in Ukraine. They led to the war in Palestine. They led to all of this. They led to the migrants coming into this country because their vote equaled the reluctancy to be strong as a leader, and that's what Joe Biden did. The worst thing he did was not do anything. He didn't do anything, and like I said, I judge off the statistics. And if Donald Trump became president and our country got worse, I would never vote for him again. And I would never vote for his vice president again. So I know I've rambled on, but I mean, it's a big election. This is the biggest election of my lifetime.
Right. Yeah, man, I appreciate you coming up. I'm going to throw you a follow. I'm interested in talking to you further about your experience with Congress people, because that's something I'm interested in myself personally.
Please, yeah, like I said, this is an odd account. I try not to be as public on TikTok, but yes, please, anybody that wants to know more, feel free to hit me up. But like I said, I'm just a guy. Educate yourself. Right. Don't trust anybody. Continue to educate yourself on whether you're Democrat or Republican. Get out and vote, because it's you that makes the world of a difference. Truly.
All righty, man. Well, be watching out for
Let's go, Trump. Thank you.
Have a good night. Alrighty, chat.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm doing good. What do you like about Kamala?
Well, personally, I just enjoy having my rights. Clearly, Trump does not support that. And I know you're going to say, oh, well, Trump never really said that, but there is a clear thing about him hating women. And honestly, I'm just terrified of him taking our human rights away. I mean, is Kamala the best choice? No.
What rights?
What rights? Reproductive rights.
Such as?
I'm a woman, and I want my rights.
Okay. So he didn't get rid of AB, right?
What?
He didn't get rid of AB, right?
I know, but there is still that hatred towards women, and I
like what?
Just don't support that.
Like what?
Have you seen any of his quotes?
Such as?
Every single one, everything he talks about. And also, I want to mention something else. He lies through his teeth all the time. And I don't understand why people can listen to that.
For instance?
Everything he says. I don't even need to give you examples. He says he's going to do one thing, but he never does it.
Up here making a lot of allegations.
Well,
but you're not bringing anything to back it up.
all I know is that, and he's also a felon. Like, how can someone vote for that?
What's he a felon for?
All of his charges. Did you not see it? Sexual crimes.
What are the charges?
Look it up. Do your research.
I'm asking you to know if you know. What are the charges?
I don't need to tell you because I saw it on the news. You should know this by now.
Okay, so do you know what the charges are?
Bro, I just give up.
How many, well, okay, can you tell me how many different charges there were?
Wasn't there like 30 something?
No. One. There was just
20
34.
something?
No, there was one. There was 34 counts of it.
Whatever.
Yeah. So, oh, she left. Okay. Yeah, you ask them for one piece of evidence and then they just leave. All right, and pull up whoever's at the top right now.
How's it going?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Why do you like Kamala?
I don't like Kamala, but the prompt is why should I vote for Kamala Harris? And I think one reason is if she gets elected, you vote for her. Things like they might legitimately be so bad that you don't see another Democrat get elected for 50 years in this country. So that's one reason.
Okay.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm definitely not a Kamala supporter. I'm concerned about the fact that she might actually win. It'd probably be pretty bad. But the good news in that is, again, you might not see another Democrat get elected for 50 years. Probably not. I think the establishment runs pretty deep in this country, and I really don't know if I like Trump's chances too much. I try to be an objective observer of U.S. politics. Like, I'm not a big rah-rah Trump guy, but definitely not a DNC or a Kamala supporter. But, I look at it kind of like it is what it is. If she wins, things might get bad. I'm already in a position where I'm pretty financially stable. I already own properties, so I'm not all that worried myself about my financial standing if she gets in, because I'm not worried about, trying to go get more houses or move. I live in Florida, so things are pretty great down here, no state income tax. But for other states and particularly for the big cities in this country, things might get really, really hairy. And if she gets in, good luck to you all. Seriously, I think I'll be fine. I already own firearms. I already own property. I'll be all right. But to the rest of you, best of luck.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming up. Have a good night. Trump said no social media. I don't know why he'd get rid of social media. He just founded a social media platform. So. Hey there, how's it going?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
So, why should you vote for Kamala? I'm just saying, she wants to take taxes off tips. Doesn't that sound wonderful?
Yeah, but Trump wants to too.
Yeah, but he stole the idea from her.
Bruh. This dude a troll, bruh.
Yeah, you're right. I'm.
This dude a troll, bruh. All right, let's bring up this dude.
Hello.
Hey there, how's it going?
Going good. How are you doing?
Doing good.
So yeah, I'm definitely going for Kamala, but I would have to say I know the woman came on and you kind of dismissed her heavily. I think that's a little bit unfair because the other dude before her was making outrageous claims and you didn't ask him for any evidence, saying that Kamala's going to start World War III when there's no evidence of that whatsoever. But more on the objective of what do you value?
Well, there's a difference between, he said himself, right? Like, y'all can think I'm crazy or whatever, and that was his personal belief. But there's a difference in belief of what you think could happen and making claims of what has happened. And I'm not claiming that there's no merit to anything that girl said, but if you're coming up to something like this, you can't just say stuff without being able to recite anything.
I'll give you that. But you're obviously sounds like from hearing you, you're going to vote for Trump. Why are you going to vote for him though?
or are you still undecided?
No, like, I mean, if I had to vote right now, I'd be voting for Donald. To keep it short and sweet, foreign affair, border, self-sufficiency with energy, and shoot, even RFK just joined them, so that's a +2, I guess. But yeah, I mean, tell me why I shouldn't do that. Why should I vote for Kamala?
Well, the main reason why I'm really a big advocate about Trump is sorry. I studied economics, and that's like my primary major, and I'm doing a master's. So I do a lot of studying on the economics as a whole, and I see which policies are good for the economy and which ones are bad. And a lot of policies that Trump has implemented onto the economy are very detrimental. Another thing too is that you could tell a lot about a president's economy based off of the successors. So that means if one president's economy is really well, then you can thank the previous successor or the previous president based off of that economy, due to his policies.
Right.
And so when a lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, Joe Biden's economy is terrible," well, you're just experiencing the backlash of Trump's economy, which is very terrible in itself. His policies.
Well, I don't think that's fair to say. I don't judge Biden for his first years of presidency because of COVID, and I wouldn't judge Trump's last year of presidency because of COVID.
No, I wouldn't. That's a very abnormal point in the economy. But I'm looking past the COVID pandemic. I'm looking more towards policies. His main policy objective is to have tax cuts for the top 1%, which is meaningless to an economy. Because why give somebody who's making more money than, like, significantly more money than the average person more tax cuts?
So I've heard this. I've heard that before, but no one's ever given me a source to that claim. And what policy or whatever does he want to provide tax cuts to the 1%?
I mean, what policy? He's advocating his entire presidency. The 2016 campaign was based off the tax cuts. Right now, we're experiencing tax cuts. I'm not going to name the entire policy by my memory.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just asking for like one example or something of the name of the policy or something, because he gave tax cuts to tax cuts to everybody except the second highest tax bracket in 2017.
Yeah, he gave tax cuts to the entire spectrum of the economy, but even then, it was like he did tax cuts for the middle class and lower class, but they ended after a couple years. But the tax cuts toward the rich still remain in effect to this day until 2025.
So do all. We're still so did the others. We're still under his taxes, under his tax plan.
Yeah, and I'm saying that his tax plan isn't good because he's going to want to further expand it.
Well, he lowered taxes for everyone. I have it pulled up right here.
Yeah, but for how long did the policy was in effect for, though? For the middle class and lower income?
It's still in effect for a couple more years. I think it's in effect till 2027.
What's the policy you're bringing up? What is it? Because you obviously have
the 2017 tax cuts. Because before, he lowered taxes. Taxes are right now, they're lower for everybody except the lowest tax bracket and the second highest tax bracket. Lowest is, and this is comparing it to 2015 to 2024. So the lowest is 10%, still 10%. The lowest was 15%, now it's 12%. Third lowest was 25, now it's 22. And then it was 28, now it's 24. And then it was 33, now it's 32. The second highest is 35, and it was 35 then as well. And then the highest has gone from 39.6 to 37. And personally, I mean, I'm not really for lowering taxes on the highest tax bracket. I know Kamala's proposed bringing it back to 39.6%, and I believe it was Reagan who lowered it to 39.6%. But I wouldn't be opposed to if it went higher. Based off of what I've seen and my understanding of Kamala's, what's it called? Her unrealized gains plan. I'm not opposed to that based off of my understanding of it. like that's to say, like, I'm not blindly picking a candidate or whatever. Like, I can admit, I don't think that policy of hers, I don't think that's a bad idea based off of my understanding of it right now.
But you're obviously going to vote for him, so you're basically voting for the ideas, policies. But I'm saying, like, Trump's main idea of policy is to tax cuts on the rich and have less regulation on the government.
Well, I'm sure you could name, if you actually thought about it, you can name one policy of Trump's that you like and one of Kamala's that you don't like.
Yeah, but it's not the. Well, I'm saying, like, yes, you're right. You're right in that standpoint. But I'm saying that Trump's tax cuts will cause a significant portion of the money that he's going to be spending. Like, yes, Kamala will be having like policies that I won't agree with. You're right, but it's not going to be her entire main campaign. Her main campaign is on the premise of giving tax cuts to the middle and poor individuals, and that allows the economy to flourish. And you can see this during Bill Clinton's presidency. He did a lot of tax cuts for the middle and poor income individuals, and that you saw that the economy rose very highly, and that the growth rate was significantly higher.
Yeah, it's kind of like a opposite of trickle down economics.
It's middle class economics.
Yeah, I've heard of that, but I just heard about the comparison to Clinton's presidency. I just heard about that today, so I've not gotten to do much research into it. But I will continue to do so. But yeah, I mean, at least in regards of that one policy of hers, I'm not against, and I'm not I'm not against the idea of lowering even the highest tax bracket, like if you can do it. But if there's a reality to where it can be better, if it's better. But yeah, I mean, the main point here is Trump didn't just lower the 1% tax bracket. He lowered pretty much everybody's.
But that's the issue, that everybody's not. It shouldn't be everybody. It should be only just the poor and middle income. I'm not saying. Look, I agree. Like, as economics, I want a free market system where as much as possible. But there's some points of capitalism where it just falls short. And allowing the top 1% of individuals to receive tax cuts, even though everybody receives tax cuts, will do nothing to the economy. You're just basically, you're not doing much to the economy. You're only giving more tax cuts, which doesn't help nobody besides the top 1%.
I mean, yeah, based off what I've heard, to the corporate tax cuts, though, that did provide for a lot of people to receive bonuses at the time of the tax cuts. A lot of people received raises. The main example I go to all the time, because it's just the one that I remember, is Costco, which was actually a Democratic company and donated to the DNC, I believe. After Trump's corporate tax cuts, they were actually able to increase their minimum wage from $13 to $15 an hour. So definitely people benefited from that, and they got not only had to pay less taxes, but plenty of people got bonuses or raises as well.
Yeah, that example is probably right. You're definitely right. Costco does it, but that's the issue. Giving tax cuts to corporations in the top 1%, it's only like they have to willingly give that money away. But they're not forced to give money away. Like, for example, like, how much money do you give away to charity?
Some every once in a while.
But it's not a lot. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't give money to charity. I'm going to be honest. I don't give money to charity. Like, unless I'm forced to, then I'm going to give money. Yeah. That's the thing. A lot of corporations in the top 1%, they're not forced to give away the money. So why give away the money? Unless they can just hoard all the money for themselves. That's where the issue arises.
They do give away a lot of money, technically.
For what reason, though?
In tax cuts. I'm sorry, and for the purposes of tax write-offs.
They're still forced to give. You just basically proved the point.
Well, that's not really forcing them to. They don't have to do it, but I mean, of course, it's better for them to do it.
But they still do it. Otherwise,
if they have more money, then that means more tax write-offs. So that means more donations to charity or whatever. Even if they're not doing it like for the love of the game, out of good faith, it's still happening.
I get it, but like on average, I'm looking at statistics on average. That's where when I bring points and issues, there's always going to be spectrum from the lowest and the highest. But I'm going based off of the average. On the average, giving tax cuts doesn't benefit nobody. If you look at the median household incomes after the Reaganomics or the Reagan policies, you would see that they actually fell significantly because their trickle down economics does not work at all. It's a construct that was developed just to